Ever find yourself, walking down the street, maybe earbuds in, and you give that quick thanks or sorry,
Yes.
almost automatic, right?
Mhm.
Or maybe you feel constantly overwhelmed, like just busy all the time, but then you stop and think, am I actually doing anything important here?
Yeah.
Do you ever feel truly present in those moments or like deeply connected?
That's such a relatable feeling, I think. It's this weird situation where we've got all this connection through our phones and devices,
Right.
but kind of ironically, we feel maybe more disconnected from what's right here, right now, the people, the environment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's really the core of what we're digging into today. We looked at several uh, really interesting sources that explore these, well, critical parts of modern life: connection, well-being.
Hmm.
And our mission really is to unpack how our habits, especially with technology, might be changing us, how we interact, how we feel inside.
Yeah, and hopefully equip you with some insights to navigate all this a bit more
Uh,
intentionally.
Intentionally, yes. We want to pull out some maybe surprising facts and some really practical ideas from these sources so you can feel genuinely informed, not just scratching the surface.
Definitely.
Okay, so let's jump in. If devices connect yet disconnect us, what about those other moments? Let's talk about the little things like gratitude and, well, let's start with earbuds.
Earbuds.
You see them constantly, don't you? People walking, running, even sitting together sometimes. But here's the thing. We usually assume someone has earbuds in, they're just tuned out, not listening.
Right, that's the assumption.
But what do our sources say is really going on there? Is it just about not hearing?
Well, that's a great starting point because it seems to be much more complicated than just audio. The fascinating thing is how earbuds, even though they're personal, they act as this kind of subtle social signal.
A social signal, how so?
They can block those small, spontaneous interactions, like, saying hi to someone walking their dog or chatting with a neighbor. They kind of put up an invisible wall.
An invisible social wall. I like that phrase.
Yeah.
It reminds me of something in the sources about having like 3 conversations in one setting because you're only half listening or partly there.
Exactly. And it highlights this idea of earbuds being a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
They let you listen to your music, your podcast, which is great.
Sure.
But they also send this message, maybe unintentionally, that says, look, I'm not connected to you right now. And honestly, I don't really want to be.
Mm. It creates that irony you mentioned earlier, doesn't it? We're supposedly never been more connected online,
Right.
but maybe never been more disconnected in the real physical world,
Right.
face to face. That's a big shift.
It really is a profound shift in how we engage with our immediate surroundings.
And it's not just the social side, is it?
Yeah,
Our sources also flag some pretty serious concerns about safety and even health.
absolutely. Think about environmental awareness. If you're completely absorbed in your audio, you might not hear important sounds around you.
Like what?
Like someone running up behind you on the beach path or a car backing out of a driveway.
Or an ambulance siren when you're driving. That's terrifying.
Yeah, driving needs, well, the sources say it requires all of your senses simultaneously. Missing a key sound cue because you're lost in music, that's a direct hazard.
And it gets even more concerning in other situations.
Yeah.
The sources mentioned this example about parents.
Oh, yeah.
Parents with earbuds in, maybe not hearing their child cry after falling down. That's pretty heavy.
It really makes you stop and think. And then there are the potential long-term health questions.
Like the radiation concerns with Wi-Fi earbuds.
Exactly. Now, the sources are clear. The research isn't conclusive yet. But they draw these parallels to things in the past, like thalidomide or even way back, opium given to babies.
Wow.
Things that were sold as perfectly safe at the time by the people selling them. It's just a reminder that safe can change as we learn more.
A sobering thought. And then there's the more immediate risk, right? Hearing damage.
Definitely. Permanent hearing loss from listening too loud. I mean, when there's literally no air between the speaker and the eardrum.
The intensity must be huge. I remember reading in one source about someone hearing a girl's music clearly across a room through her earbuds
Ooh.
and warning her she could be deaf by 30. That's serious.
It absolutely is. So it all boils down to this question: when is it okay to use them? And when has it just become automatic?
It's like a habit you don't even notice.
Yeah. And look, the sources acknowledge there are totally legitimate reasons. Listening to something on a noisy train, taking a private work call in an open office.
Sure, we're just needing some quiet sometimes.
Right. But the concern is when they It almost become a protection or defense mechanism.
Ah, like a way to shut out the world because it feels like too much.
Precisely. Because we feel so overwhelmed, the real issue arises when it's just the default setting. Oh, I leave them in all the time because that's just what I do. No thought behind it.
So the key takeaway here is intentionality.
That's exactly what the sources emphasize. Choose when they serve a real purpose. Avoid the automatic, always plugged in state.
And maybe communicate better. Like if you have to keep one in for work calls.
Tell people, don't just let them assume you're being rude or that you think you're too busy and important. Just a quick explanation can make all the difference.
Makes sense. And there are even tech solutions now, right? Like those loop earbuds mentioned.
Yeah, the ones that filter sound rather than block it completely, so you can soften the noise but still hear if someone speaks to you. It's all about being mindful, not just defaulting to blocking everything out.
Okay, so earbuds can create distance. Let's shift gears a bit because our sources also talked a lot about bridging distance, about connection through really basic things, gratitude and apologies.
Ah, yes. The power of thank you and sorry.
Have you ever noticed how often those words just come out? Almost
Mhm.
meaningless sometimes. Or worse, they're just skipped entirely when they really should be said.
It's true. It feels like basic courtesies are fading sometimes. The sources mention how, like, calling or sending a note after someone hosts you for dinner, that's almost a thing of the past.
Really? Wow, we've gotten so casual.
Maybe too casual, yeah. We overlook these small things that actually carry a lot of weight.
I was struck by an anecdote in the sources about watching people interact with a waitress.
Mm-hmm.
So many people just mumbled thanks while looking away. But then one person stopped, actually looked her in the eye, and said it genuinely. And her face just lit up.
It's such a simple thing, but it's that moment of human recognition. It matters.
It really does. And the sources suggest this goes beyond just that one interaction. Sincere appreciation builds relationships, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There was that example about telling a waiter to thank the chef.
Oh, right.
The point was that message gets passed on much more effectively and with real warmth if you've already built a bit of rapport, a respectful connection with the waiter. It's not just words then. It's a genuine relay of appreciation.
And that appreciation compounds, the sources said. It flows on. It doesn't just affect your relationship with a waiter, but maybe the waiter's relationship with the chef, too. It has this ripple effect.
Exactly. These are the moments that stick. The sources shared lovely stories, like a barista remembering a really specific coffee order.
The decaf, almond, flat white.
That's the one. Or a cafe owner remembering someone's monthly order after just a couple of visits. That creates a universe of deeper connection. It makes the whole experience better, more human.
It really goes. Those are the tiny, tiny special moments, the little
Yeah.
touch points between people. That's what we remember, not the app we used. It's the human connection.
Definitely. And the same deep principles apply to apologies
Uh-huh.
when they're done sincerely.
How so? I mean, an apology is usually about the other person, right?
Well, yes and no. The sources frame it interestingly. They say an apology is fundamentally about the person offering it. It's about getting back into their own integrity.
Integrity.
Yeah. Acknowledging internally that something didn't quite work, that you
Yeah.
made a mistake. It's about your own honesty first, not just smoothing things over with the other person.
That's a different way to look at it.
Yeah.
So it's also about your relationship with yourself.
In a big way. Think about times you've messed up, maybe said something wrong, even if the other person didn't seem to notice.
Uh-huh.
The sources mention this. If you don't address it, even just for yourself, it leaves this little element of shame or guilt, and that feeling can then taint every connection from there on. Apologizing clears your own slate, too.
That makes a lot of sense. And timing matters too, I gather.
Hugely. There's a time limit on apologies being effective. And
Yeah.
crucially, and this was a great tip from the sources, don't lead with excuses.
Oh, what should you do?
Just say it straight. I apologize. I screwed up. Full stop.
Yeah.
Then if they ask what happened, you can explain. But lead with responsibility, not justification.
Okay, lead with responsibility. I like that. And it changes the dynamic, doesn't it?
Hmm.
Especially if the apology comes from someone seen as, important.
Massively. It can make the person receiving it feel seen, valued, not insignificant. The sources even suggested it could do half the counseling needed in that moment just by validating their experience.
Wow. So whether it's gratitude or apology, it comes back to building relationships, doing it respectfully.
And connecting on a deep level, allowing for no limitations on conversations, it's about genuine human interaction.
Which requires being present,
Hmm.
truly present. And that leads us right into our third theme, something that actively fights against being present. This whole culture of busyness.
Ah, the busyness trap, yes.
We seem to glorify being busy, don't we? But are we actually getting anything useful done?
The sources really question this idea, saying that being busy just for the sake of being busy isn't productivity.
Not at all. So many people are frantically doing things all the time, but like you said, not really getting things done properly or getting the wrong things done.
It feels like a performance sometimes, a perception thing, as the sources put it. A need to demonstrate that I'm so busy. Yeah, look how important I am. But it's just not healthy, this constant, relentless activity. Our bodies aren't built for it. They literally tell us to stop when things go wrong. Illness, burnout.
That unrelenting constantness. It's unnatural. We have to take time out for ourselves, don't we? Otherwise, we just wear out.
Completely. And this connects to the whole illusion of modern productivity. There was this really striking study mentioned from the early 90s.
What did you find?
It showed people were already 12 times more productive than they were 100 years before that. 12 times. What took a year, they could do in a month.
So why do we feel more frantic now, not less?
That's the paradox. Part of it is information overload. One figure suggested 100 years worth of information now hits us in just 3 months.
Whoa.
And think about all those time-saving devices, washing machines, dishwashers. They were meant to give us more leisure time.
Right, more time to relax.
But what do? We fill that time with more tasks, more productivity, driven by our smartwatches, constant email, endless social media posts.
It's relentless. Even if your calendar looks free, your brain isn't. It's processing billboards, TV ads, all this other stuff. We're always on, always taking stuff in.
Always. Which is exactly why the sources stress needing time to defrag.
Defrag, like a computer.
Exactly like a computer. Our brains need downtime to sort through everything, to process. That's why things like just walking in nature, hearing birds, smelling flowers.
Or reading a book, knitting, whatever lets your mind wander.
Precisely. Non-productive activities, they allow the brain to rest, to make connections. You know, the whole Newton and the apple story, he wasn't busy trying to invent gravity. He was just sitting, observing, letting his mind defrag.
Allowing space for insight. It comes back to being present in the moment, doesn't it? Letting go of the need to do constantly.
Absolutely. And there are practical ways. A great tip was using the do not disturb function on your phone for set hours.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, letting only really close contacts get through. Creating actual boundaries to protect your focus and your mental space.
That sounds essential, actually.
Because the goal isn't just being busy. It's knowing when it's time to be busy and when it's time to take some time out to recuperate.
Recuperate so you can actually be effective later.
Exactly. So that when you become busy again, you can be more effective and efficient. It's strategic rest, not laziness. The sources are pretty blunt. If you don't manage it, busyness will kill you.
That's a stark warning. So wrapping this up, all these different threads we've pulled on today, the earbuds, the thank yous, the apologies, the busyness, they all seem to loop back to this central idea, don't they? Fostering respect.
Respect for other people, definitely. But also, crucially, respect for ourselves.
Respect for our own need to sometimes disconnect, to genuinely feel gratitude, to just be present, not constantly performing or producing.
Yeah. Recognizing our limits and our needs in a world that just keeps pushing for more.
So maybe the final thought for everyone listening is this. In this world that's always demanding more connection, more productivity, how can you find those moments? How can you consciously choose to disconnect sometimes, to offer that real heartfelt thank you, to give yourself permission to simply be?
And how can you keep building those bridges of respect, not just outwards towards others, but inwards towards yourself?
One intentional moment at a time,